Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Madaraka Festival Podcast. I am your host, Hawi. It is amazing to be in 2025, and 2025 has brought about not just amazing things, but amazing people here to the podcast. I do have the one, the only, William Okumu. Very amazing. Please greet our audience.
Thank you.
I like the way you're laughing.
Somebody's watching.
Somebody's watching. No, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, but thanks for the invite. It's good to be here.
Maybe you can give us your full government names, because I know you as apart from my director in many aspects, and know you from Laser Arts Ensemble. Maybe you can just tell us your full name.
Already you mentioned too. So my name is William Ochieng Okumu. I'm an artist, but specifically I'm an actor, a writer, a director, and also a producer. My background in training is in communication. I'm a passionate African storyteller. I like telling African stories.
You see. Yeah. It was very intentional.
It's unfortunate I didn't put on mine.
No. It's okay. You tell the African stories. We will be here to execute them.
Yes, I'm a passionate African storyteller. Co-founder of Laser Arts. I work there. That's where I do my work. I think many more we'll get to know as we continue with the conversation. But Briefly, that's who I am. Yes.
Thank you so much for making time to be here today. I never take it for granted. Anytime we have a guest, it takes a lot to make out time to come and sit with us. British people say chinwag, to have a chinwag with us, have a talk with us. So I'm so glad you're here today for us to have this talk.
Thank you.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about maybe your background growing up, where you grew up, for us to get a better idea of who is William. Where did all this creativity start from?
Oh, that's history. Okay. Who is William? So William is a man born in Kisumu, born and raised in Kisumu, but also had a bit of my raising in Nairobi. Currently, my parents are not there, both mom and dad. But I grew up, I had a bit of my life with them.
Okay.
My mom passed when I was about, my real mom passed when I was about 4 years old. My dad passed when I was about 22 years old. But what made me to be here today, I would say, is my dad, because I started not really at an early stage doing my arts, but that was late in high school that I discovered that I could do art. I loved art back then from primary, but I was still very shy and afraid to express myself. But fortunately enough, when I was in my Form 3, that's when I started doing art. I started as a reciter, then became a narrator, then from there became an actor, became a director, then evolved to finally a producer. Why I've mentioned my dad is because when at a point where I was starting to build my foundation in art,
Yes.
He was very supportive, and at some point after I had finished my high school, he took me to a talent academy, which by then was a program done by the Kenyan government in collaboration with UNICEF. So there I got the opportunity to do film and theatre for a period of 9 months. It was called National Youth Talent Academy back then, but now it's no longer a program that is there. Then after that, when I was now going for my college education, my tertiary education at Maseno, I remember us having a conversation when I was going to do my course. At first, I wanted to do something in business administration, to be specific, HR. So I remember my dad asking me, why do you want to do HR? But to be honest, I wanted to be HR because I know that HR people employ people. So
you never like a job. You are like, you want a course. Ukitoka lazima kazi iko, because you're the one. Okay.
Yes. So that's what I wanted to do back then. But my dad was like, you're very talented in this area. Why don't you try and pursue something in theatre?
Yeah.
And by then, since I had come from the Talent Academy, I had a bit of now a wider understanding of what arts and theatre was. And I remember us having a conversation that I needed to do something that will complement my art. And that is how I ended up doing communication and media technology in Maseno University. So that's what I studied. And I think after that, the two really worked well in terms of paving way for me to where I am today. Yes. So that's a bit of my history.
I'm trying to imagine right now if your dad hadn't influenced you the way he did, and you taking the route that you have taken to get into film and other things. You would just be in some office right now, sitting kama HR.
I would have been. And I think it's him who made me stick to the industry, because as you know that of as much as today it's starting to change.
Okay.
Back then, our parents were not really into arts because they had their reasons, which were also valid, because one, I think it was hard for them to try and find success.
In such areas.
Even if you're asked, okay, so who you do want to be,
Bob Marley.
They were very countable. So it was not easy. I think we all know the challenges that were there in terms of income opportunities.
Yeah.
So those kind of fears that parents do have. So for him not to be very supportive in such an area was a blessing for me, and I must say I was very lucky to have such a dad. Yes. Yeah.
As you know, you mentioned you grew up in Kisumu. Currently, we are here in Kisumu, in Manyata to be specific,
Yes.
at the One Vibe Studios. In your journey in art, as you mentioned, part of it has been in Kisumu. Another part of it, I think, you've touched
In Nairobi. Yeah.
How has the experience been in the two places? How is art for you in Kisumu? And how has art been for you in Nairobi?
In Kisumu, one, I would say there is a lot of creativity.
Yes.
There are a lot of people who are very creative artistically, and cutting across from music, theatre, arts, film, dance, visual art, mention it. I think the challenge has been the consumption or the consumers.
Okay.
Trying to get the product to the people who can actually buy your art in that, so that at the end of the day you're able to sustain yourself and also sustain doing the art that you're doing. The difference between Kisumu and Nairobi, I think it's just the opportunities.
Okay.
In terms of creativity, I think there's so much creativity on this side, but in terms of opportunity, Nairobi has a lot of opportunities. I think maybe it comes with the stature of Nairobi being a capital, which of course you have so many media houses concentrated there. You have a lot of population that you can sell to. You have a huge cosmopolitan population that is also very interested in buying art. So I would say, for me, the difference is the opportunities. Kisumu has less, Nairobi has more, but Kisumu has a lot of creatives, people who are very, very creative. Yeah.
I'm glad you've said that. That's making me smile. We have a lot of creatives. I was going to ask you where you think where is more creative between Kisumu and Nairobi, but based on your answer,
it is Kisumu.
It's Kisumu,
it's
right?
Kisumu.
This is the hub of creativity.
Yes.
It's just for us to find ways to get those opportunities that help us sustain the art that we've been doing and continue to push ourselves out there.
Yes.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about your acting, how you got into, apart from being part of the 9 months? Apart from the 9 months, what now also propelled you further into acting?
I think first, growing up, I was a very quiet kid, very, very quiet. And I built my self-confidence through art, especially through performance. So for me, doing performing arts was a way of building my self-confidence. At the same time, it was a way for me to express myself, build my soft skills, communication and whatever goes with that line. After the 9 months, it wasn't a long period before we started Laser Arts.
Yes.
I think by then, when I was now getting into college, the theatre scene in Kisumu had really gone down. As much as there were a few people who were doing, but it had gone down for some time. And then as a young person trying to look for opportunities, I couldn't see so many. And that is where me and a couple of my friends decided to, start Laser Arts. And of course, at that time, we wanted to, do public shows, find space where we could do performance. And at that time, we were lucky enough to collaborate with Alliance Française. By then, Alliance had opened a school in Kisumu. But now they're closed.
Yes.
So that's where we started doing our art. That's where I started now doing, apart from school now, I'll say that is when I started training myself in acting. I did a couple of plays. I think for plays I've done over 10 productions. Could be 20. I haven't been counting, but I know there could be easily more than 20. Then from when I got into acting, first I was doing a lot of stage acting. And then with time, I got interested into film acting, which I've been doing, I think, since 2020. Yes, 2020. That's when I started now getting seriously into screen acting. So that is how I have evolved to where I am today. And currently I'm doing a lot of screen acting compared to stage acting. But for stage, mostly I'm doing writing, producing and directing. That's what I'm doing on stage performance.
Stage
theater.
Oh, stage theater.
Yes.
Before we even get into stage, the writing and the directing that you're doing, I want to make sure I take this specific moment to say that I am personally a product of Laser Arts Ensemble. And the journey was very funny for me because I remember when I came back to Kenya and Kisumu specifically, I needed a space with artists. I needed a space where I felt other creatives were there, because that's the one thing I had missed from where I was coming from. So the first thing I did, I remember I Googled, dance studios. I just Googled a bunch of things to do with art, dance, something. And the first thing that popped up on the Google search was Laser Arts Ensemble Facebook page. Then I followed up, I think, with the phone number. Then I was told, you guys are at Alliance Française at a specific location. And from that day till today, what can I say? Adi, what can I say? From that day till today, that has been the family, the home for so many different types of art. Initially, I came as a dancer. Yes,
I remember.
Dancer, I auditioned. I auditioned very well. I went that day without any CD, without any flash disc. I was now asked, so you're a dancer? Yes. Do you have music? No. Okay, but can you dance? Yes. You play anything?
And then you were given a song.
I was given, do I even remember the song?
You were just told to dance?
No. I was given a random song. So yeah, I freestyled. Freestyled, did my thing, did my 1 and 2 like this, my bass.
And that's how you got in.
And that's how I got in. So thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. Being the brains behind that, the decision you and a few of your close friends made, that was like, 10 years, 12 years ago? It's like
now
12.
10, now is 10, could be 12, because 2013. So now could be
12.
11. This would be the 12th year.
12 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, that decision is what has birthed many of us who are still in the creative space here in Kisumu. So thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Now back on the writing and the directing. Do you prefer to be an actor or do you prefer the side of directing and writing as of now?
As of now, it's hard to answer that because I'm pursuing both. I'll be honest, I'm pursuing both because as you know, that currently, as much as everybody is seeking for economic, income and economic opportunities, and because there are not that many, you realize that if you can balance both, then it's a plus. So, of course, for the better part of last year, I did a lot of acting compared to the writing, because for writing, of course, for writing, sometimes the projects you just write, keep them, then maybe someday you decide to produce. Some of them you decide to sell, some of them you just decide to use them for mentorship. That's a different case. But I still do write, even at my private time.
Your leisure, yeah.
Yes, my leisure time. I write a lot, and I have ideas that I don't even know when I'll shoot them, but I keep writing. I keep writing. So in terms of what I do more, yes, I do a lot of acting because it gives me the income, but I also do the writing because it still pays, because the scripts I sell, for income. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned acting. I know probably our audience may not know some of the movies, films you've been in. Maybe you can name just a few, because I know I have that feeling there's someone right now who's like, this face looks familiar, but I can't trace it. Maybe you can tell us some of the productions you've been in when it comes to film.
I think I'll mention films mostly, because that one would be easy for someone to get the reference. But for films, I have done Amolo. It's a feature film. I have done Bangarang, a feature film. I have done Funeral Madness. For Funeral Madness, I did as a producer and also as a director. For Bangarang and Amolo, that's as an actor. There's, for series, I've done My Love or a Story, Maisha Magicist, season 2. There's one in Showmax called Black and Blue. It's a nice one. You should watch it. Which one else? There are quite a number that are not yet out.
Yes.
So I think I am not at liberty to mention some of them, especially for the series. But there's another film called there's this one. It was supposed to be released last year, but again it was postponed. It's called Birthday Live. There's that. And then there are quite a number of short films that I've done. So just to mention a few, those are some of the projects I have. But for the plays, there are 3 plays I have on YouTube. If you go to Boran Imaging, YouTube page, there's one called Eat and Run. That's a play. There's another one called Petals of Roses. There's another one. Yeah.
You are, of course, still on the Madaraka Festival Podcast with myself, Hawi, and I have an amazing guest here today. He is an actor, he's a director, he's a screenwriter, he's a creative on all spheres, and he's called Mr. William Okumu. He has been telling us a little bit about his background, how he got into the art space, and some of the projects that he has been doing. One of them that you mentioned that I know I would definitely encourage you to go and check it out if you have not watched it, Bangarang. When I saw the role you played in Bangarang, sincerely, I don't know how I didn't call you that day and ask, do you have a twin brother? Is this... Because you depicted the character so well, to the point that people who know you on a personal level, we were like, is this the same guy we know? Ama kuna mwingine? Maybe you can tell us a little bit about the experience, the behind the scenes of shooting Bangarang.
So let me tell you a funny story before you even get to that. Funny thing about Bangarang was my character name was same as my dad's name.
Wow.
Because my dad was called Charles, and the character name was called Charles, so Chalo. So behind the scenes, I think first, of course, is I got the script. I got I was almost not showing up for the audition.
Wow.
Because I remember when they were doing the character Bible, I went through it and I was like, I was 50-50 about it, but then I decided to go for the audition, which I did. I think I did my best and I was casted for the role. I got the script, went through it, I looked at the character, and for me was trying to find out what was the character journey in the whole story. And the events, how they flow, and how does it get mixed up in the event, what are the struggles of the character, both external and internal. And I think the character had a lot of internal struggles because here is a policeman who has a duty, to his country, because he's employed as a policeman, and of course his role is to maintain law and order at such a time where there's so much chaos, and people are also fighting for quote unquote what they call their right. The character had a background of, his dad was also a policeman, and of course he died in the line of duty. But growing up, he also wanted to be a policeman, trying to fulfill his dad's legacy and, be someone who the mom can be proud of. Of course, he ended up being a police officer, but now events caught up with him, being a police officer at a time when there was post-election violence. And as he tries to maneuver and make life for himself, he is caught up in all this mess where his colleagues, are brutally, hitting at people. And here you have a character who, feels like being a police officer is a calling, and being a calling is that he needs to serve, be of service to the community and to the country. And he's told that at some point there are certain orders that have been issued where, you shoot to kill. And what really caught the character was the fact that he saw a young child, 6 months old, being killed because of course the story was also linked to a true event where a 6 months old baby died. I think it was in 2017, post-election violence. So he is now confronted with, does he continue with this job, or does he leave and go back to the village and try and find a new life? And it was a bit of a struggle for the character, and I think my role was to be able to bring the audience into that world of this character and try to understand the struggles, the depths, and how far is the character willing to go, and to what extreme is the character willing to go. And I think at the end of it, how does it affect the character at the end of the story? Do you change, or you end up being like your colleagues? For me, that was the work that was involved in the behind the scenes, but the objective at the end of the day was basically to share with the audience the journey of this character in the film.
Is there anything specific you did maybe to prepare for the role? Because we normally hear actors, Mara, they changed their diet, Mara, they kept themselves in the village for how many weeks or months to the shooting. Is there anything you did specifically maybe in preparation for the role?
Definitely. I wouldn't, though I will not go into in-depth. Of course, there's the personal private rehearsals that you have to do to yourself. For me, it was about, my rehearsal was about who was I acting with for every scene that I was involved, and what were the power levels, who was above me, who was below me, what was the character relationship between me and other characters in the story, from my mom to my boss to my colleagues to the people, that you're serving. So looking at all those, because we relate differently. How I relate with you is different with how I relate to the next person that I know, or who is my best friend, or my dad, or my mom. So those are some of the things I really needed to look into, and also just looking at the whole world of the film itself, and where do I fit in this whole, in the whole world of the story.
Maybe you can share with us something for that young actor, or that aspiring director, or that aspiring writer, maybe as a word of knowledge or encouragement for somebody who wants to get into this sphere, but hasn't yet maybe gotten the chance or opportunity, or is still maybe battling their own fears on how to go about it. Is there something you can tell the youth them?
There's a lot. I think there's a lot that we learn in our journey of being, an actor, a writer, director, producer, or any other form of art. I think first know what you want. I think that's the first important thing. What do you want? Do you want to be an actor? Do you want to be a writer? Do you want to to be a director? Do you want to be a musician or a visual artist? So know what you want exactly. The second thing is your personal discipline, because your personal discipline will we say, yes, you will get opportunities and doors will open for you, but your level of discipline will keep you in those rooms.
Will sustain you.
It will sustain you on that journey. The other thing is, I think, associate with the right people. Yeah, if you're a writer, find your fellow writers, get into the networks of writing, get into the associations of these writers, get to interact with these people so that you can expand your knowledge. And I think lastly, a lot which is in relation with discipline is,
yes,
it is up to you to get to where you want. A lot will depend on your effort. A lot will depend on your effort. As much as we think, there are not so many opportunities, you might be shocked even there are so many opportunities around you.
Yeah,
it's just how you see it and how you perceive the world around you. Yes.
That's very good advice. I know myself personally, I've learned a lot in the 12 years. I've grown a lot also because of you and the different areas you've pushed me. I also think I'll add to what you've mentioned, that sometimes you may not know exactly what all your abilities may look like.
Yes.
Sometimes it's people who see certain abilities in you and I think you can do this. So when you surround yourself with the right people, there are people who always pull more out of you.
Yes.
And it's up to you to avail yourself and up to you to allow that process and that journey and I guess make mistakes, because yes.
And we shouldn't be afraid of making mistakes, because I think as we live our lives every day, there's a saying that goes, your role is you're going to make so many mistakes, but your job is to correct those mistakes as fast as possible. So we shouldn't be afraid of making mistakes. Besides, when we're creating art, we make a lot of mistakes. We break the boundaries, but that's the fun of it. Yeah.
All right. Just as an icebreaker and to put you on the hot seat just a little bit, I'm going to ask you a few random questions.
And if I can't answer,
you can say pass.
Okay.
If you can't answer, you can say pass. No problem. What's your favorite movie right now? I'm not saying of all time. Right now.
Right now. Oof. Hey,
yep.
That's the problem of now being a filmmaker, because you have so many.
That's why I asked the hard questions.
I'm sorry, because that should have been something that I would have just said automatically, but I've watched so many. I think currently my favorite internationally is Transformers, the latest, The Rise of the Beast.
The latest Transformer movie is your thing, huh?
Yes. I like that story, the way it has been told. Yes.
All right. Still in the line of film, do you have a specific actor that maybe you're inspired by or you've drawn inspiration from?
The line of film. You're asking me. Ooh. The line of film, locally or internationally?
No, it's we are international, so wherever you want to.
Though it's unfortunate, we should also have local. I think internationally, I am a huge fan of Denzel.
Washington.
Though I have a number of international, but Denzel will always come first in my list.
Okay.
Locally. Locally, I think there's a lady called Melissa Kiplagat. I think I love her acting. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a favorite song right now, or a song that is on repeat?
Favorite song? Currently, it's called what? There's this song by Kabza, though he's the producer. I've forgotten the name, but he has done. There's a song by Kabza with Young Stuna. I've forgotten the title of the name, but I love that song.
You're still enjoying the Kwaito
Yes.
house, South African
Yes.
vibes
The
and
Amapiano
feelings.
vibe,
The Amapiano vibes.
Yes, yeah.
Watu wa chup chup.
What does that chup chup mean? You're making it sound conspicuous.
No, I don't know what it means. I just think it's vibes.
Okay.
It's generally just vibes. And then the last hot seat question I'm going to give you is, what are 4 words your close friends would use to describe you?
My close friends. I'm a very soft-spoken person. Quiet. What again do they refer me with? I think mostly it's those 2. Very reserved and very quiet.
Reserved, soft-spoken, quiet, very demure.
And I don't look like an actor.
And you don't look like an actor.
Before they see me on stage, they say, hey,
Who is this guy?
Who is this guy? So I've always gotten those kind of comments so many times, because the person they meet and the person they see on stage or on screen, it's a different person, because now I wear different hats dependent on the project I'm doing. Yeah.
But I think that just proves how much you excel in what you do. By the time people are wondering, hey, kwani see this, we saw this guy 2 minutes ago, is the same guy ama ni mwingine? Yeah, that means you're doing something amazing.
Yeah.
So with that, I'll like to say thank you so much for making time to come here to the podcast. It's always a pleasure to work with you, whatever the project is, be with you, kukula bajia na chapati dondo when we want to, with you. So yeah, thank you so much for coming through today.
Thank you too for inviting me here and to share
Please
my story.
Look at that camera. Let us know your social media pages and how people can be able to reach you and also interact with your work.
Okay. So personally, I think mostly I'm only active on Facebook. So on Facebook, you'll find me at William Ochieng Okumu. I am on Instagram, but not very active. That's Ochibo William. For my work, you'll find it mostly on my YouTube page. It's called Boran Imaging. If you go to YouTube, you'll find a number of works there, from film trailers to short films to web series. So that's where you'll find most of my work. Yes. For my personal contact, that's the other day.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for checking in another episode here of the Madaraka Festival Podcast. As we have mentioned, this year, the Madaraka Festival is going to be kicking it off. That is in April on the 19th and the 20th. It is going to be a 2-day event this year, because as we know, we have to keep doing it bigger and have to keep doing it better. Of course, please continue to interact with our content, continue to like, share, subscribe, and we will make sure that if you want to get hold of Mr. William Okumu, you can get him via that number.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Ciao.